Today is the day that I give you a blueprint for how to manage your time and manage your energy. So stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And what our subject matter is going to be today, continuing on what we spoke about the last time in terms of managing your time and managing your energy, is a method for you to use so that you can be your most productive self. This is what the 5%ers follow religiously, whether they do it consciously or not. So I'm going to lay it out for you in a conscious manner so that you can figure out how you can be the most productive. And the blueprint that we're going to use is called the Pareto Principle. Pareto is spelled P-A-R-E-T-O in case you want to Google it, because not all tasks are created equally. The Pareto Principle, in short, is a prediction. And what that prediction says is that 80% of the results that you're going to get comes from 20% of your activity. Now let me give you a few examples of that. Okay, the richest 20% of the people control 80% of the world's income. 20% of patients account for 80% of total healthcare spending. As far as epidemics are concerned, 20% of the infected individuals are responsible for 80% of the transmission of that disease. 20% of criminals commit 80% of the crimes. And the one where I learned this the most was about 80% of a company's sales come from 20% of its workforce. So 20% of the people in any given workforce are producing 80% of the results. Now, this Pareto Principle was first presented to me by my mentor, my number one mentor, Bob Anderson. Here's how he explained it to me and showed it to me. And wow, it's just, once you learn this, it helps you, excuse me, become super productive. I had a sales office of about, I don't know, at that time probably 35, 40 people. And we were always recruiting new people to come in. It was a sales office, so we're recruiting new people to come in. Part of, well, the thing that drew people in to work with us was we were training manager trainees. So we were teaching people how to be managers. So they had to learn sales, of course, and they had to learn management. So part of learning management in this particular venue was teaching people how to sell. So I, as the essentially CEO, the manager of the office, I did some of the training, but if I'm training people to be managers, I have to get them to do the training and watch the trainers train my trainees so I can critique the trainers, help them become better so that they can get what they desire and deserve, which was a management position. Well, one day, Bob Anderson was visiting in my office, and we had a whole bunch of people there because he was coming. He was big vice president, so people wanted to be there when he was there, and he commands an audience, tremendous charisma. When the big boss comes in, you have people there, and so we were going through our regular training day, and we had, like, in one particular area, we had 2 or 3 people working with one brand new trainee. So Bob pulls me aside and he says, "Eli's dad, are you concerned about your paycheck?" I said, "Heck yeah." He said, "Let me ask you a question. Because we work on commission, so if nobody's making any sales, I'm not making any money. All right, so the focus is on sales." So he says to me, "How much money are you making from this guy that just came in off the street 3 days ago and you're training to be part of our sales team?" I said, "Well, right now we're not making any money off him." He says, "Where are you making your money?" I said, well, the people that are out in the field from my leaders, they're the ones that are producing the most. He said, you have 3 of your leaders working with one guy that just came in off the street. Most of your money, 80% of your money, is coming from these people that are the leaders. Shouldn't you be spending your time with them? Shouldn't your top leader be spending time with the second most leader or the third most leader and spending time with them to bring their production up? Because isn't that where you and they are going to make the most money? Do you follow what I'm saying? So you take a look at how you're distributing your time, how it's divvied up, and you say to yourself, where can I spend the time that's going to be the most productive with me? So, you know, when it comes to being, you know, it's not going to be exactly 80-20, but the majority of your life's outcomes are dependent on very few inputs. These select activities are high impact activities. Let me give you a few steps to use to help you with your 80-20 Pareto principle prioritization. Number 1, analyze your high impact activities. That's a crucial first step. Every job, every role has a select few high impact activities. You know, like we said, in sales, what would the high impact activities be? Well, they would be prospecting, they would be presenting to your clients, they would be doing the paperwork, they would be follow-up, right? Those are your main activities. So take a look at how you're, as a salesperson, as an example, how you're spending your day. Are you spending most of your time, you know, prospecting? The actual presentations that you make to the client takes up kind of a small amount of your time. What takes time is getting in front of your prospects. And in order to get in front of a prospect, he or she or they have to first become prospects. So you must chunk out a significant amount of time for prospecting. And that's true in whatever endeavor it is that you're pursuing. Whatever it is you want to achieve. If you're a school teacher, all right, you don't just walk into the classroom and say, all right, here's today's lesson. You have sat down, and you've written out a lesson plan of what you're going to do. And that time that you spend is very, very valuable time, making your lesson plan. In whatever pursuit that you are now working towards, are you spending time on your lesson plan, or are you just going into the classroom and teaching off the cuff? Second, analyze the time you spend on those tasks. After you've done listing what your high tasks are, you need to find out where you're spending your time. And if when you look at it, you're not spending the majority of your time doing the things that are high impact, then you need to do a rescheduling. High impact activities, here's reasons why people prefer to not do high impact activities. All right, this is just being a human being. High impact activities don't provide instant gratification, and low impact activities do. So sitting down and making a lesson plan is not as much fun, it doesn't give you as much gratification as playing a video game or watching your favorite TV show or something like that. You follow what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons. Another one, high impact activities can be more challenging, and they come with a higher chance that you're not going to be successful. That's part of the game, folks. It's part of the game. And the third thing is, sometimes these high impact activities, the things you have to do behind the curtain, okay, you have to be invisible to become visible, get repetitive and monotonous. So you need to be honest with yourself, and when you are, and you keep track of where you spent your time, you're going to find some surprising insights that will help you to rearrange your schedule. And speaking of scheduling, schedule these tasks in a calendar. High impact activities should be dominating your calendar. You schedule these tasks in your calendar, you restructure your day to ensure that you're going to spend the majority of your time on these high impact activities and kind of intersperse them with low impact activities. It helps to make sure that you're focused on the high impact activities at the same time and avoiding monotony by alternating between high and low tasks. But remember to apportion high impact activities and low impact activities with the proper amount of time. Another thing you want to do in this regard is you want to avoid multitasking. You know, sometimes you have to, but if you're going to multitask, make sure that it's the low impact activities that you're doing at the same time, like watching television and playing a video game at the same time, as an example. All right, but you know, because if you try and multitask in a high impact activity, you're going to end up either with a shoddy job getting done, or it's going to take you much longer to complete the task. Block off distractions while you're performing your high impact tasks. Track and recalibrate. Just because you have an activity in your calendar doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to follow that calendar. I mean, things happen. You know, it's extremely important to review your tasks on a regular basis to make sure that you're spending the time that you should on those tasks. Now, sometimes you're going to deviate from that schedule, and that's okay. It happens to all of us. Recalibrate your schedule and activities for the next day, for the next week, for the next time that you have an opening. Eventually, after weeks and months of reviewing and recalibrating, you're going to arrive at the most effective schedule that works the best for you. It's a schedule that prioritizes your high impact activities. You know, sometimes you're terrible at self-analysis, but you're going to find that the people that are in that 5% group are constantly looking at how they're spending their time and how they're spending their energy. Do your most difficult times, your tasks, when you have the most energy, that's when you get the most things done. So focus on those things. They're critical to your success. And once again, a real simple formula that you should adhere to is the Pareto principle. Always remembering that 80% of results come from 20% of the activity, or that 80% of the results come from 20% of the people, or that 80% of your profits come from 20% of your investments. It's a rule that you can live with on a regular basis. It's once again called the Pareto principle. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.